Well, good morning. Good morning. And my name is Willie Lawson. And this is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. I trust that you are well this glorious day. A lot of just silly stuff's going on. You guys know Friday is probably a little shorter morning report, and this one it will be no different. Just a couple of stories that I think are interesting. One about something that I don't really care anything about, and something I care a lot about. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in a minute after these messages. Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet. And you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices. And you'd be right. They most certainly are. But you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those places is freedomforum.website. Freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com. And you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. Welcome back to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of FightBackMedia.com, 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 and FightBackMediaTV.com. The FIFA World Cup soccer tournament is going on right now. Yes, this is the one I don't care about. I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm the ugly American who just thinks that soccer is boring, and normally I don't have a rooting interest. So I just think it's awful that people who are born here are cheering for Brazil over their own native team from the United States. And there's so much of that goes on in this. Makes me not care. Makes me not give a rat's toot. However, this particular development I find interesting, at least after the United States men's national team defeated Iran earlier this week. I remember that in a scintillating 1-0 game after almost 2 hours of play. Anyway, at the 2022 World Cup being held in Qatar, whose team was out right away and should have never gotten this. If Atlanta can't get an MLB All-Star game, how the hell does a place like Qatar get a World Cup? Because FIFA is one of the most corrupt international organizations in the world. Oh, second only to the UN, but we're not talking about that, right? The athletes who secured the hard-won victory for America landed a significant payday of at least $13 million. Yay, big bucks, good stuff. Potentially more, depending on how their subsequent matches play out. We'll see how that goes. But another team that wasn't even in Qatar will be splitting that prize with the men's soccer team. The Cleveland Browns. No, not the Cleveland Browns. The U.S. women's national team. They weren't on the field. They weren't in the stadium. They weren't in the country. They weren't on the continent. But they will be splitting the money. They will get half. It's like a divorce. Half of the winnings earned by the men's team player. So, of course, after the U.S. soccer takes its tithe of 10% and half of any other prize money that the men wins through the end of the tournament, if they continue to win because of equity. And the new collective bargaining agreement that requires World Cup winnings be pooled and divided evenly between the men's and women's teams. Here's the problem. In 2015, the women's team won $2 million as champions. An amount that doubled. It doubled the next time in 19 when they also ended up being champions. And the men barely get into the knockout rounds, and they win $13 million. Now, it's not the men's fault. This is how FIFA had it set up. This is how U.S. Soccer had it set up. And it's set up for a very plain reason. The reason is that more people give a damn about men's soccer, which is amazing to me, than women's soccer, which is not so amazing to me. So the sport that is more popular, the brand of sport that is more popular, makes more money. That seems to be justice. That seems to make more sense. The team that wins gets the biggest trophy. The team that comes in last place, if they are fortunate, gets a chance to do it again next season. That is the way of the world. The business that sells bad food fails, unless you're McDonald's. The car wash that doesn't get your car clean fails. The barber that cuts your hair jacked up goes out of business. But if you're a female or identify as a female and you play a sport that people don't like or watch in WNBA, women's soccer, you get half. In the case of soccer, World Cup soccer anyway, of what the men make, just because you have a vagina. There's really no other reason. You know, even Don Lemon was shocked by the reminders that the men's team would only get half of what they earned on the field against Iran, while the women's team gets half by merely having a vagina. I'm sure he was thinking, maybe I should have one installed. Maybe I'd get a payday. Lemon explained in a segment, if there is more interest in a men's sport, the business people, the people who make the money off sports, will put that on television because we live in a capitalist society and it's about the money. It is. It is. There's more interest. It's like it's what I say about the Republican Party all the time. They have not done their work. They want the benefits and they have not done their work. If the United States women's team, women's national team, wants to spur more interest in their sport, then they need to get to work. They need to get out to colleges, not just colleges and universities, but high schools and middle schools, and stir up that interest. Instead of stirring up the whining about not making more money, do the work to build your fan base. You've got the talent. Now you have to do the marketing. You refuse to do that. So now you won't, because now you're going to be just fat, dumb, and lazy because you're getting half of what the men make regardless. And somehow you'll be happy with it. Well, at least until you want more. It is, and I tweeted earlier, I think the United States should get out of every international organization. They're all corrupt, every single one of them, all of them, and go it alone. There isn't any reason for the United States to be involved in any international organization. Zero. If it's not based here in the United States and our interests aren't up front, then we should get out. FIFA especially. FIFA is a cluster, you know what. And this whole thing about the U.S. women's soccer team is it's just awful. So again, the reason the women's soccer team lands less money is for participation in tournaments, because there's less money to go around in women's soccer compared to men's soccer. The spectacle of men's soccer draws enough money for FIFA to dole out some $440 million in prizes at this year's World Cup. But women's soccer only is profitable enough to distribute $30 million because more people watch it. Why that is, y'all can decide. It's a pretty good comparison to the NBA and the WNBA. Really good as, and if you watch the NCAA men's tournament and the NCAA women's tournament, it's just out there. So this idea that everybody's the same, and obviously they're not. And again, this article says exactly what I'm saying. If the women's soccer team, soccer players want to make their athleticism more profitable, they'll need to increase the number of people who watch them. And along with more eyeballs, they'll draw more sponsorships, endorsements, blah, blah, blah. So they got to get out there and they've got to build their audience. You have to build their fan base. And it's up to you. It's up to you, women's soccer players, to build your fan base. You can't build your fan base by tearing down the other one. When are we going to learn that we can't build by tearing down? That's a lesson that needs to be taught across the spectrum. My name is Willie Lawson. We'll be back with more of the Mona Report right after these messages. So is it okay now, because it was, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's...
yeah. We talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy's mental health.
The president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen...
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it's especially bad. I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president, or were you five?
You see, what I want... See, the next question is... excuse me,
I was told to call on... What you call it for NBC? Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet, and you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices, and you'd be right. They most certainly are. But you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those places is Freedom Forum website, freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. Good morning. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Things just get more and more curious, more and more interesting. Florida, you have to wonder, Florida has decided, the governor has decided, and the CFO of Florida, Pintros, I think his name is, has decided to divest in BlackRock. Florida DeSantis yanks billions in investments from evil BlackRock. You know that I'm substituting the word woke with evil because that's what it is. Over ESG. ESG, environmental, social governance, is a platform by which these large financial institutions have decided that if companies don't follow a certain ideology, then getting loans, capital, is going to be difficult, if not impossible. Now, we've all experienced it already. With the job that I'm getting ready to go to now today, we've already been to and are looking to go to a second training, get it in your brain. If they start passing out chips, then I'm not going to take one. Well, unless they're, baby, Sweet Baby Ray's or something, or Uncle Ray's salt and pepper chips. Ever had those? Absolutely delicious. But anyway, let's say start handing out chips or something, I'm not taking it. But our second training about how to treat people, training on inclusion, that kind of stuff that you're going to a lot now. Companies are doing that because they have to get their ESG points up. This evil agenda didn't just show up and stay in Hollywood. It moves everywhere because, again, all these people, like George Carlin said, all these people went to the same universities. They're all members of the same country clubs. They all went to, they're all together in the same groups. They automatically know. They don't have to have a meeting. They already know what benefits them. They already know. So it's easy for them to all sort of nod their head and go along. They don't need to have a meeting. They don't need to have Davos. They don't need to have a meeting up in the mountain somewhere where they sacrifice goats. That's not important. They all know they have a converged interest in holding on to power and money. And this ideology that we're dealing with in this culture war is prevalent in that ilk. So ESG. Now they're trying to re-explain ESG, but that's not what it is. I mean, they can try to explain it away all they want. My governor, this dude here, has decided that Florida is going to divest from BlackRock, which is one of the largest investment companies in the world. Definitely one of the largest in the country. But Florida is going to take their little bit of money and say, we're done. Republicans, I've decided, because we've decided that all this environmental, social, and corporate governance investing strategies to advance an ideological agenda would be voted down if we had to vote about it. So what we decided to do is roll back the $40 trillion in ESG investing business. Florida's not going to participate. We're not playing this game. I think that's probably the smartest thing. We're just not going to play the game. Now, how this is going to play out, will people like Larry Fink, who is CEO of BlackRock, will they try to punish Florida in some way? Probably. But it is the right move to do, even if there's a fight. It's the right thing to do. Others, and what BlackRock is concerned about is that other states will do the very same thing. Texas, if y'all got any sack at all, you'll do the very same thing. Alaska, if y'all got any sack at all, you will do the very same thing. BlackRock is not going away. And this is not bringing BlackRock to its knees, not by any stretch of the imagination, but to have Florida taxpayer money involved in what BlackRock pushes, and pushes on an unwilling public, is incomprehensible. And our governor has decided that this is not how it's going to be. I'm excited about it, even as I'm off to my inclusion meeting right this very second. Thank you ever so much for popping in on this Friday real quick. My name is Willie Lawson. This has been the Morning Report. The Morning Report is production of FightBackMedia.com, 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 and FightBackMediaTV.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sake, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.